moral suffering, human despair, and the need for acceptance and hope. The testimony known as the Samaritan, presented in the second part of The Heaven and the Hell, is one of the most sensitive and responsible accounts of the entire work. Allan Kardec addresses here a deeply delicate theme, treating it with moral lucidity, compassion, and educational purpose, distancing any punitive or sensationalist view. The spirit manifests in a state of intense suffering, marked by confusion, anguish, and deep remorse. Its consciousness is clear enough to recognize that the decision to take its own life did not bring relief but aggravated the inner suffering. This point is essential. There is no external judgment, but a direct acknowledgement that unresolved emotional pain was carried beyond physical life. Modern psychology helps to understand this situation in depth. States of extreme despair are often associated with emotional disorders, feelings of isolation, loss of meaning, and a temporary inability to perceive alternatives. The decision to take one's own life does not stem from moral weakness, but from intense and misunderstood psychic pain, which limits the perception of reality at that moment. Spiritism clarifies that the suffering experienced by this spirit is not a punishment imposed by God. It results from the abrupt interruption of a learning process, combined with the shock of awakening in a state of expanded consciousness without the necessary emotional resources to cope with one's own pain. Life has not been destroyed. It has merely continued under more difficult conditions. Contemporary science reinforces this view by showing that consciousness is not reduced to the functioning of the physical brain. Studies on near-death experiences, the neuroscience of consciousness, and deep psychology indicate that identity, emotional memory, and internal conflicts may persist beyond altered states of matter. This helps to understand why emotional pain does not automatically disappear with the death of the body. Another central point of the testimony is moral loneliness. The spirit perceives that, by distancing itself from life, it has temporarily severed important learning bonds, affecting not only itself but also those who remain. This recognition generates suffering, but also awakens empathy and a desire for future repair. Spiritism is clear in stating that this state is not permanent. Suffering persists while the consciousness still needs to understand, reorganize, and accept help. As this spirit receives support, clarification, and assistance, a gradual process of recovery begins. Divine mercy is expressed precisely in the permanent possibility of a fresh start. This passage conveys a deeply human and current message. Taking one's own life is never a solution, but the pain that leads someone to think about it needs to be embraced, understood, and treated with seriousness, empathy, and support. Life has intrinsic value, even when it seems unbearable. Psychology and spiritism converge on this point. Speaking, asking for help, and sharing pain saves lives. Emotional suffering can be treated. No pain is a sign of moral failure, and no one needs to face it alone. This testimony is, above all, a call to compassion. It invites us to look more closely at those who suffer, to listen without judgment, and to offer real support. It also reminds us that seeking help is an act of courage, not weakness. If you or someone close to you is facing thoughts of taking their own life, seek professional help and immediate human support. Talking to someone you trust, seeking psychological or medical care can make all the difference. Life can always be rebuilt, even when everything seems lost. If this content helped you reflect on emotional pain, hope, and acceptance, like, share, and leave your comment. Your participation helps this message of care reach more people.